there are no breaks in restaurants.
What do you mean?
Like if you're working a double, most times, right, aren't servers eating on the run?
Eating?
Everyone eats if they eat.
No,
if they eat.
No, don't we all get half-hour breaks?
Yeah, it's a cry in the walk-in.
Restaurant Punk, what's up? Let's go.
Restaurant
Let's go.
Punk.
Restaurant Punk.
Restaurant what?
Punk.
Punk.
Punk
Ass bitch.
You baby back
You ever
bitch.
called a punk ass bitch?
Never
No.
I've called other people that.
Punk, like you've literally said to them, punk ass bitch.
100%.
Really?
Many times over the years.
I don't think that's ever come out of my mouth.
Without
That doesn't
smiling?
sound right. That's what she said.
Liz, did you say it without smiling? It's
Yes,
like, I
of
feel like, you
course.
punk ass bitch.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
with the
probably-
sass.
yeah. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't
I'm
do
sure
anything
it
sassless.
followed with a threat of some sort.
Yeah, you're a punk ass bitch.
I think I may have said that to several kitchen people. Actually.
Oh, very
Now I
nice.
think about
To
it.
kitchen people.
Yeah.
I've threatened them.
Kitchen guys, keep your ears closed.
To
You've
all the
threatened
punk-ass
people-
bitches.
You have threatened people in the kitchen.
Yeah, I told them, I said, let's take this outside. I was like 21, 22. I mean, they're just coming at me. And we used to fight a lot because they're used to like bullying women or servers, but
Right.
especially women. And I wasn't having that. So
Have you ever threatened a line cook or chef or somebody in the back of the house and you actually got scared for a second after you threatened them?
no.
She goes all in.
Punk ladies. You
She
can tell
goes
us.
all in.
No.
She's
no,
like fiery
because
fist
if
of fury. I don't care if I go down.
Because
She
if
go
you
down
go
swinging.
down, you go down swinging. I remember one time years ago you said to me, you're like I was saying, like if I get home late and it's dark and if someone was there coming after me and you made a comment about me running. I'm like, running? I wouldn't run. I'd turn around and fight. I might lose, but I'm not going to go down without a fight.
Fair enough.
Don't start.
Because if you run,
won't
they're
be
definitely
nothing.
going to get you.
Yeah.
They're definitely
all
going
right.
to kill you.
All right. Okay.
Anyway, that's our advice.
Yes, that's our advice on
Restaurant
Restaurant Punk.
Out.
What do we got?
I know I said I had a topic and I totally forgot. I don't want to have to get up. Just give me a second. I'll cut this part out. Oh, yes. Ready?
Yes.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready.
Ready? Yes.
The anticipation is so there.
And a lot of people who do not work in this industry don't realize this, but there are no breaks in restaurants.
What do you mean?
Like if you're working a double, most times, right, aren't servers eating on the run?
Eating?
Everyone eats if they eat.
No, don't.
If they eat.
No, don't we all get half-hour breaks?
Yeah, it's a cry in the walk-in.
I mean, okay, legally, you're supposed to get breaks, but
I didn't know that.
But if you're a server,
Yeah.
do you eat on the run? Because as a server and I'm working a double, I will, or if it's a single, I won't eat in the middle of my shift. I'll eat at the end. It's still within the 8-hour time period.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'll eat not in the middle. I would eat in the beginning or at the end.
Yeah, but haven't
mostly
you
at the
ever
end.
worked like, it's different in the kitchen because we have food, we're surrounded by food and
Yeah.
we could eat whatever we want in the kitchen, whenever we want, whatever we want.
Yeah.
So, but I've
You
been,
eat in the kitchen? I feel like when I'm cooking, I never eat.
Really?
It's all around me. I don't want to eat when I'm working.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
I've suffered to the point of serving or bartending to where, there are moments where you're starving.
And your stomach's growling.
Yeah.
And, you're bringing back that plate, you're dropping it off a dish and you're looking at that leftover food and you're like, just a bite.
Oh.
I saw someone do that. I saw a guy
I've
do
done
that.
that.
I have
I've
not. I have not. I
absolutely
have
done
not. I
that.
have not.
I actually did it as recently as 2 nights ago
Oh.
at Brine.
Did you give in?
No, the food came back and they said, it was too spicy. And I'm notorious for this. When somebody sends
Yeah.
back food, I just take it and I put it in my mouth. And when I do it in front of the guests especially, there's a look of shock.
Did
Yeah.
you do it in front of the guest?
No, I didn't
Okay,
because it
okay.
came back. I was like,
Right,
whoa,
right,
what's the
yeah.
matter?
Yeah.
So apparently they asked for no pineapple salsa on it, but she didn't want it to be hot, but there happened to be some Cajun seasoning. So she was right.
Okay.
And that's why I like to taste it.
Yes.
But
Yeah. You
she
need
took
feedback.
a bite out of it. And it wasn't like, I'm hungry, I want to try it, but I've tried it. But in my earlier years, I am absolutely guilty of doing that. Because when I'm
The
hungry,
calamari's coming out.
I'm hungry. Yeah, maybe there's, 30 pieces of calamari. Are they going to notice 2 pieces of calamari going out as I'm delivering the food and going through the swinging door? And there's a moment where you could take a couple pieces, stuff them in your mouth, don't chew. And then when you get a chance to chew. And then you're like, okay, that's not, but you want more.
You disgust
I want
me.
more. Hey, well, that's why I smoke cigarettes because I'm like, it just kind of helped
That
with the
itch.
craving.
Yeah.
So as an owner, would you rather me eat some of the food or go outside and have a cigarette, smell like cigarettes? Because technically I'm taking a break all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but when it's busy, even behind the bar, you don't take breaks. I'm not gonna say you don't take a break. You get a break. You just don't do the break in the middle of your shift. You do it. You eat either before or after. That's how we typically. That's how you do it.
Yes, what we do in the group, I would say, is more towards the end of the night. You know, there's a part of me that'd like to say I wouldn't say a full scale on break to where you get in your car, go to Wawa, go grab a shorty, and then come back.
No.
But there's a lot of puttering.
Yeah.
Like in the mornings, I just like to putter around a little bit.
You don't have a day off. You have hours off.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So that half hour of an 8-hour shift of when you're serving, you've worked corporate before, right?
Yeah.
I've worked corporate. Have you ever worked in a corporate restaurant setting?
Yeah. Yes.
Technically. Right. You know, there's no half-hour breaks on a Saturday night.
You get 3 cups of coffee in the morning. You eat a giant lunch, or a hoagie or whatever at 3:30, and then when you get home at midnight, you have whatever is in the fridge.
And listen, I've used this topic before. That's what I think the topic was. How do you feel about me being a smoker, getting breaks all the time? Because every time I go outside for a cigarette, it could be 3 minutes or it could be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I might even light up a second cigarette because I'm like, they're fine. They got it. Is that wrong?
Are you more stressed than me if we're doing the same job?
Well, I'm better at it than you are. So obviously, yeah, I'm not stressed.
No, I'm just saying, not you and me, but, same server, doing the same job or whatever, or the cook or whatever, but you have a habit.
Right. But just like the kitchen, there are different stations.
Yeah.
And different stations get hit at different times. And I would put serving in the same category as that, because if there's 4 servers on the floor and we each have 4 tables each, you're going to be hit at different times. So that's where I'd like to think, some restaurant acuity comes into play and common sense to where, you know what, the better judgment is that I do have a minute right now to go take a couple puffs. I'm going to go do that. So I hear what you're saying, but it's such a carousel in the restaurant between the front of the house and the back of the house. There are times when the kitchen's got 30 tickets up there and they're in the weeds and everybody in the front is just jerking off. And then it's the opposite. I've walked into restaurants where the servers are running around like animals, and I walk in the kitchen and there are no tickets in the kitchen. Yeah. So where do you find that perfect balance?
I'd rather reward if we get through a crazy night. I'll just give a 6-pack to the cooks, because they delivered.
Right. So going back to taking breaks in a restaurant, to me, okay, it might not be an official break, but as you're closing down, which I prefer the end of the night, and you want to hang out and you're on the clock, to me, that's where that break comes into play.
Yes.
Yeah. Officially.
Well, as a tipped employee, I would think you wouldn't want to take a break in the middle of your shift, because then you're losing money. You're losing tips.
Yeah, but sometimes you have that mindset of like, I'm making more money than I've ever needed.
Yeah, but I mean, it's tough because so bartending, you don't leave. You just don't leave and go on some stupid break. Even I don't care if you're a smoker. I don't care. Like I have a friend of mine, she smokes, but she does it when we're dead or at the end of the night. Never in a million years would she do it in the middle of the night.
Are you taking last tables or are you giving them away?
I always take last tables.
Yeah.
If I'm there anyway. Right?
See, and
that's how you make your money.
I'm the type of person that would say, God bless, you can have them. I'm cool.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I've done it many times.
No.
Yeah.
I've made a bulk of my money in many restaurants over the years. At the end, I always liked closing because a lot of times.
With the same energy.
Yes. And a lot of the times the later people are people that are industry people because they came from another restaurant.
Okay, fair enough.
And so you're getting good tips, better tips also.
Okay.
But also too, consider this. If you're the person, I only want tables at the busiest part of the night. Like I want to come in later, I want to leave early. I only want the bulk of the business in the busiest part. Have you considered that when it's the busiest time of the night, it's more chaotic? Maybe ticket times run longer. Maybe there's more screaming babies, and the overall experience for the guests isn't the same. They're more intense. They have more anxiety. It affects you. That's why I like it at the end of the night, because it's empty. It's not loud. Chances are there aren't kids. Their ticket times are short. They're more calm. It's a better environment for them. And then they'll probably tip me better. And I can have time to chat with them.
Okay. I would normally give those tables away so I could cash out and leave earlier, because if my side work's done, you don't have a problem with that. You're okay with that. Yeah. So I think that's where the time comes into play. And I would say, you know what? I'd rather leave early and go out and go do something. We had a great night. But I hear what you're saying on your end. Usually it's better. Hang out. People take care of you. And
it's like, you're like, I made my $400 for today. I don't need an extra $75.
Unfortunately, that was my mindset.
Yeah.
And I still think going into business today, it's still the same thing. Like it's all going to come. It doesn't have to come right away, but it's coming. It's coming.
But you were young when you were younger and a server. You had that mentality. would you feel that way now?
Well, that's where I think it transfers into adulthood that you're like, okay, you're chasing after something, right? Is it going to go any faster if you do this, this, and this? Does it? Some people try like really, really, really hard. And sometimes you go for the long game. For me, like using the group, it's the long game.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So using that when it comes to breaks and mentality, I would think, what is my time worth? And I would say, do I want to be here another 2 hours and make a couple extra dollars? Let's use Matt's analogy, $400. Let's say I can make another.
Wait, can I say this? Not to
Yes.
say that servers typically make $400. It
Oh,
depends
no.
on your restaurant. I do not want
That
to
was
put
just
it
a
out
round
there.
number.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
There's
the
some
number I was
restaurants that-
comfortable with
Some
saying.
restaurants,
To be me,
I'm happy
servers
with
do not make
realistic?
that.
No.
Yes.
Let's say I was at a corporate restaurant. I was making $125. Let's say the section filled up one more time. That's another 4 tables. That would give me maybe another $40. Now, this is back in the 90s, obviously. And it's 9 o'clock. Do I want to leave like in 30 minutes or do I want to be here till 11:30 till the manager closes up? And I would always, give away my tables because I had the best section and they wanted my section because I was in the smoking section where they tip. So that would be my break. So my thing was, how efficient can I be from the time that I get there until I'm done? But I always wanted to minimize that time. And I always thought of it as working smarter, not harder.
Is it though? Okay,
Absolutely it is.
Time out.
Look me in the
Time out.
eyes. Audience, look me in the eyes.
Well-
Smarter, not harder.
Well, that's one way to look at it. Although, consider this. What
Considering.
if I close, instead of working 5 shifts a week, I close, instead of working 5 shifts, I work 4 shifts and I close. I stay there all day or I work 3 doubles. So I have more days off, but all the bulk of my work is on like one day. Like it's kind of like how I edit, right? So I'll spend many hours in one sitting editing the same thing over and over and over. And it affords me to have more days off if I should so choose later on. So do you do a little bit of work every day and have to work every day? Or do you bulk it up on fewer days and have off more days?
Take it away, Matt Smith.
Bulk up, baby.
Right?
Bulk up.
Right.
So
if,
you'd
if
rather,
I can have one full day off, which that won't happen. That hasn't happened in the near past or the far future. So, if I can get one day off, I will bulk up the rest of the week. Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
so that day off is more meaningful than
Yes.
having an extra 2 hours off that you're shaving off at the end of a work shift.
So I think the better analogy would be we're all serving in the same restaurant. You take those extra tables at night and you work 5 days a week. I do not, and I work 6 days a week, and we both make the same exact money, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and I think that's why I say it pertains to me right now because I'm not even thinking or no need for a day off, meaning that in life, I'm not looking to just work really hard and then relax. And I think that's where I'm going with that.
That's you.
We started.
Who hurt
that's me.
you?
Yeah, it's a 6. What?
you.
Who hurt you?
Who hurt me?
No, yeah.
I talk
Like-
I talk to Liz about this all the time, and I like the phrase. There's no end to creativity.
No.
Yeah.
Right? Just
Well, it doesn't stop up
going.
here.
It doesn't stop. So how
a
does
sickness.
this pertain to breaks? I kind of segued into leaving early, and I would take that as my break.
Yeah.
The only restaurant that gave me a break was non-corporate, but I was also a busser at that time. So I guess I wasn't as important. So I could leave for 20 minutes and grab something to eat in the middle of a shift.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, not
never
bad.
heard- I've
And
never heard of anyone
And they
else
were
doing that.
Greek.
Wow.
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 You don't know who you are, but I like
He
you guys.
remembers
He's
you.
really, I do remember that. Yeah, I was 19 years old. I was like, all right, I like this. I can get used to it. But as far as breaks go, from an owner's perspective, is it automatically assumed or is that something that's told to the employee when they first
It's
come
assumed. This industry, it's assumed. You want to eat, you eat before, you eat after, unless you're in a double, and then then you eat in between those shifts.
in? Well, what does a double consist of? A double consists of a restaurant that's open for, let's say, brunch and dinner.
Right.
And are they open between 3 and 5?
I mean, I worked at a restaurant many years ago where it was open the entire day. It was for lunch and dinner, but you had some people coming at 4 and some people coming at 5.
Okay,
So what you could do is you work your lunch shift, you get cut, you have your break, but you don't have to come back till like 5.
Okay.
Like that's an option too.
Okay.
Because between 4 and 5, you don't really get a lot
Okay.
in many restaurants, but
Would you say, Matt, as an owner, that you get more breaks now, physically speaking, as an owner than you did as an employee?
Yes.
Yeah, I think the ownership game is more of a mental than physical game.
It is.
Right,
Yes,
Liz?
yes.
Yeah. And I think that's where, with age comes that mental, and some could argue that the mental toughness, it's harder than the physical part,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
because if you're doing a job, any job long enough, you have it's the same thing over and over, right? Over and over, it's the repetition. You could do it with your eyes closed. You don't have to think about it. I mean, I could bartend and think about something totally different the entire
You can do that
night.
while you're doing it, I
right?
see.
Whereas you need to think more as an owner
Right.
constantly.
I would say I'm fine. We don't use the word fine, right? I'm great. I could do that as
great.
well. However, let's say I'm working service bar. Yes, you're right. I could be blending. I could be doing whatever. But then when that order comes in that has all the special, what's the word? Changes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in the food, like in the kitchen, you're in a
Like
rhythm.
modifications,
Everything's
yeah.
Substitutions, modifications. Yeah.
Yeah, it just ruins the whole thing. And my brain is like, and then I have to sit there and go. So when I'm serving, big rule, no checkbooks. Don't write it down. Unless obviously if it's a 6 top or more. I never write it down.
I do.
I write everything down.
And I'm gonna tell you why.
Well, that's why I'm better than both of you put together,
There you
because
go.
you know what? You have to write things down. I can actually
Yeah.
memorize
Excuse
things.
me.
And I've trained my brain.
I can too.
This
I've
guy.
trained my brain, my Jedi mind brain, to remember these things.
Yeah, and then midway, when you're walking to the kitchen, I say, "Can you get me a ketchup?" And then you lost everything.
Everything gone,
Right.
done,
Right. Well, this,
done. Because
Yeah.
I have everything in my head, but I wouldn't even acknowledge you, even if you punch me in the nuts,
Yeah.
right? I wouldn't acknowledge you because I would just keep it in this vault up here. And the guests love that I'm just staring at them. Go ahead, place an order with me.
time out. You're
You
wrong.
want to do it
You're
right
wrong,
now in the
you're wrong,
episode?
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Why don't the both of you give me a 6 tops order, and then we'll talk, and then I'll tell you what it
Time
is
out.
later.
First of all, I work.
There's no timeouts at Restaurant Punk.
Sure.
Go ahead, sorry. Don't look at me like that.
So
Fired
when
up.
I bartend in a high volume nightclub, okay, obviously you don't write anything down, so I can retain orders just fine. That's not the issue.
All right.
It's perception is the issue. As a guest, when you place your order and the person's not writing it down, especially if you have special modifications, don't you think, oh, here we go, they're not going to remember something.
Of course.
I think Ellen DeGeneres did a bit on this years ago. Ellen DeGeneres did a bit on this. Like, she's like, you're not, like, in the server's mind, they think they're impressing the guest,
No.
and the guest,
You're just
they
creating
don't see
fear.
it. Now there's anxiety because they're assuming that you're going to up.
Yep.
And that's the truth.
You know what the truth is, Liz?
Well, your truth. What's your truth?
The truth is,
She will fight you.
Yeah. Punch you right in the nuts.
Opa. The truth is that I have a 7 top. I'm going to go for it. You know what I'm going to go for? I'm going to go for a break on my shift. Restaurant Punk, I'm Yianni.
Badass Liz.
Matt Smith,
Out.
Out.
give me a break.
Give me a break.
Break.
Good one.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Shit.
Bye.
Bye.
I know one day I'm like, whose legs are those? I didn't know it was Yianni's. I'm like, that girl got some nice legs. Not that you have girl legs, they're long. What? Okay, whatever.
What you got? What do you want?